Welcome back to Dark Tales, the channel where shadows speak louder than the light, and every story drags you deeper into fear. Tonight we bring you a chilling account from deep within the forest, a camping trip that turned into a nightmare none of them could escape. Settle in, turn off the lights, and listen closely, because the woods hold secrets you may never want to hear. The fire burned low, sending a thin stream of smoke curling into the night sky. 4 friends sat around it, their laughter and easy talk beginning to quiet as the forest around them settled into an uneasy silence. The air felt too still, as if even the wind was holding its breath. Daniel poked at the flames with a stick, sending sparks spiraling upward, but the faint crackle of wood seemed to be the only sound for miles. They had driven deep into the forest that afternoon, miles off the main road, to camp where no one else would bother them. Emily had insisted it would be fun, something different, away from cell phones and the constant hum of traffic. At first, it was, but as darkness thickened, an unsettling heaviness crept in. The woods pressed close, black between the trees, and every snap of a twig sounded sharper than it should. Mia leaned in, her voice low. "Did you guys hear that?" Her eyes flicked toward the tree line. The others froze, straining their ears. For a moment, nothing, just the soft hiss of the fire. Then, faintly, the sound of footsteps crunching on dry leaves. "Probably a deer," Daniel said quickly, though his voice lacked conviction. "We're in the woods. Animals are everywhere." But Emily wasn't convinced. That didn't sound like an animal. It was slow, like someone walking. The group fell silent again. The sound had stopped, as if whatever made it knew they were listening. Mia pulled her blanket tighter around her shoulders. The firelight carved shadows across their faces, making their uneasy expressions sharper, stranger. Hours passed, the forest refusing to let them relax. When they finally crawled into their tents, the night only grew heavier. Emily and Mia shared one, Daniel and Chris the other. Emily lay awake, listening. Every gust of wind seemed like a whisper. Every creak of branches felt deliberate. Then it came again, the footsteps, slow, deliberate, moving just outside the thin fabric of the tent. Her breath caught in her throat. She reached over and squeezed Mia's arm. "Mia," she whispered, "do you hear that?" Mia stirred, then froze as the sound reached her ears. Heavy steps circling, the faint crack of twigs snapping under weight. Neither of them moved, barely daring to breathe. The footsteps lingered, then stopped directly behind their tent. For a long, dreadful moment, silence pressed down on them until the faint sound of something dragging against the canvas made them both tremble. Suddenly, Chris's voice rang out from the other tent. "Who's out there?" The silence broke, and the footsteps retreated quickly into the trees. Emily's heart hammered, but relief never came, because Chris's voice was shaky, frightened. Daniel unzipped the tent and stepped out, flashlight in hand. Its beam cut through the dark, swinging wildly between the trees. Nothing, just the forest, empty and watching. "There's no one," he muttered, though his face was pale. But the forest was not empty. That night dragged endlessly. Every sound outside seemed sharper, closer. Sleep came in broken fragments, and by morning, none of them looked rested. Over stale granola bars and lukewarm coffee, they debated packing up and leaving. But Chris, ever stubborn, shook his head. "We came all this way. Probably some hunter or hiker messing around. Let's just stay." Against their better judgment, they agreed. The day felt normal enough. They hiked, fished by the creek, tried to shake the unease of the night before. But as the sun dipped, that heavy silence fell again. Not the peaceful quiet of nature, but the suffocating stillness of being watched. When darkness swallowed the camp again, the forest seemed alive with faint, deliberate noises, branches snapping, leaves crunching. Once, Daniel swore he saw a figure between the trees, a tall, shadowy shape standing motionless. But when he raised his flashlight, it was gone. By midnight, they were back in their tents, pretending to sleep. Emily lay frozen, eyes wide in the darkness. That was when she heard it, a voice low and guttural, whispering her name from just outside. "Emily!" Her blood ran cold. She knew that voice. It was Chris's, but Chris was in the other tent. She bit her lip, shaking her head in denial. Then it came again, closer. "Emily, come outside." Her trembling hand reached for Mia, but Mia was already awake, staring at her with wide, horrified eyes. They both had heard it. Daniel's tent zipper screeched, and his panicked yell shattered the night. "Chris! Chris, wake up!" The girls burst out of their tent in time to see Daniel clutching his arm, blood seeping through his sleeve. Chris stumbled out after him, pale and shaking. "Something grabbed him," Chris shouted, "from under the tent." The four of them backed toward the fire, its dying glow their only comfort. Beyond the circle of light, the forest pulsed with movement. Figures shifted between the trees, dark, taller than any human, their limbs long and crooked. The sound of dragging feet and guttural whispers filled the night. Mia sobbed, clutching Emily's arm. "We have to leave. We have to leave now." But the forest had closed in. Every direction, the shadows moved, circling, waiting. Daniel, pale and weak from his bleeding arm, pointed toward the dirt road. "Run! Just run!" They did, crashing through the underbrush. The whispers followed, closer, faster. Branches whipped their faces, roots clawed at their ankles. Emily dared a glance back and saw one of the shapes break from the trees, its hollow face catching the moonlight. Its mouth gaped unnaturally wide, and from it came the voice again. "Emily!" she screamed, pushing herself harder. The forest seemed endless, a maze of trees trapping them. Chris stumbled, falling hard, and when Daniel tried to help, the shadows swallowed them both. Their screams echoed, then cut off. Emily and Mia didn't look back again. Bursting onto the dirt road, they sprinted toward the faint outline of their car. The whispers chased them until the moment they slammed the doors shut, locking themselves inside. The night outside fell eerily still again, as if the forest had swallowed its horrors back into silence. Emily turned the key, hands shaking, the headlights cutting through the trees. For a split second, she saw them, tall figures standing just beyond the glow, motionless, watching. The car roared to life, and they sped away, the forest shrinking behind them. Neither spoke, neither dared to breathe, until the trees thinned and the highway lights finally appeared. But the whispers still echoed in Emily's mind, low and haunting, that voice impossibly familiar, still calling her name. And somewhere in the forest, two screams had never found their way back. This was another Dark Tales. The forest is vast, endless, and merciless. What waits between the trees is not always meant to be seen. Some who enter never return, and those who do are never quite the same. Thank you for listening to tonight's story. If you enjoyed this journey into the dark, remember to like, subscribe, and click the bell so you don't miss the next tale. Until then, keep your fire burning, and never answer the voice that calls your name in the woods.